Hello guys and girls. In this video I want to talk about various Line 6 products and perhaps offer you my opinion if you're thinking which product you should get. So there are a lot of options if you think about it right now on the market, and Line 6 in their latest line of products has the following items. There's the Line 6 Helix floor. There's the Line 6 Helix LT. There's the latest edition called Pod Go. And then there's HX Stomp. So what is the difference between all of them? I guess let's start with the main flagship product. It's the Helix floor. This is not the Helix floor. I actually have it as a backup and I don't use it. I'll get to it later. So Helix floor has absolutely everything you would ever need as a professional musician, gigging musician. You can actually run probably your entire band through one unit. You can run your bass and vocals and guitar through the same unit. That's how powerful it is. The way it's intended to be used, and there are many ways to configure your rig, but the main way it's created is that you have two XLRs going to the front of the house, XLR L and XLR R, two stereo cables, and your sound is dialed in so that the sound guy receives the sound, sets everything flat, and you have this amazing stereo sound that is ready for your arena, your stadium ready sound. And then you have your 1/4 inch outs, which you can use as a personal monitor mix. That's the way that makes sense. And the Helix has so many different effects that you can literally, there's no need for you to be running any other additional pedals. Maybe some weird specific vintage 1970s tube screamer or whatever the heck you have, but realistically the Helix has everything, and you can always find a substitute, or you can always, there's some trade-offs, but most of the time I guarantee if you tweak long enough you'll find your perfect sound. So the Line 6 Helix LT is almost the same exact thing as the floor model, and this is the LT model, except it has fewer sends and returns. It doesn't have XLR in, meaning you cannot connect your condenser microphone, for example. And it doesn't have those micro screens above each button. But I own a Helix floor, which I got as a backup in special edition color. It's called Space Gray, and I literally keep it just in case this unit dies. I have no desire to take it on the road because this has everything I need. I prefer the cleaner look of the LT without those little screens. Honestly, I have no difficulty identifying what snapshot I am currently playing, and we're looking right now at the snapshot view, and I can read it just fine, and I know which button corresponds to which snapshot. Maybe people who have difficulty seeing, for them the micro screens are better, but it's a lot cleaner than seeing like these the guts of how your snapshots or your presets are organized. I don't need to see my signal chain. So there you go. The expression pedal is it's a different story. It's a lot flimsier on the LT model as opposed to the floor model. So what I recommend, and what I did, is simply get a cheap plastic expression pedal that will work with your Helix. Just in case the onboard pedal dies, you can plug it in and set up your presets in such a way that you're only using expression pedal 2, and when you plug in your expression pedal, your external expression pedal, this one stops working, and the external one will do all of the things that this one does. Simple. It's actually slightly lighter than the floor model, and even smaller. So yeah, that's my recommendation. I've seen, what's his name, Bumblefoot, play through a Helix LT, no problem. Nobody said like, what are you doing, man? Why aren't you using a floor model? So there you go. For regular guitars, this is solid. This is absolutely enough to play show after show after show. It's reliable, solid. All right, the next product is the one that came out earlier this year. It's the Pod Go. Pod Go, I would think of it as a mini Helix. It's very light. I haven't actually seen it in person, but I've seen videos. It's very light. It's plastic, still very solid, and it's got fewer snapshots. And realistically, you need to think, how many different snapshots per song do you need? And that's the way I recommend you, once again, setting up your presets, is to have a preset per song. That way you don't need a set list. You just rearrange your presets, and that becomes your set list. You go next, next, next. Every single section in all your songs is a separate snapshot. I use, usually, some songs have, for me in my band, just one sound throughout. Some songs have 4 or 5. So you can always find workarounds. If you have only 4 snapshots to work with, you can always find workarounds using the expression pedal or whatever. Also, on the Pod Go, the DSP is less. So you can have fewer blocks, they're called in Helix or Line 6 terminology, fewer blocks. And yeah, if your setup is simpler, then you don't need to have all that power. If you're just playing a couple sounds throughout, then why complicate your life? The only other difference, so the Pod Go does not have XLR out. It's got your 1/4 inch out. So for you to go to the front of the house and then have a separate monitor mix, for that you need to have a separate mixer on stage, or just rely on the monitors. So that's a trade-off. This thing has, you have headphones, you have your 1/4 inch out, XLR out, so you can set up the volume and how you control all of those levels. You can set it up like that. But on the Pod Go, it's slightly more compromised. And but if you, for example, if you always play through a physical amp and just use your processor as a pedal board, then by all means get the Pod Go. The benefit of having snapshots is there, so you have seamless switching without any audible gaps. It's great. And then finally, the Stomp. Stomp is even smaller. So it's, I think the only reason you would get a Stomp is if you have 1 or 2 sounds, or if you want to use it as a backup, because it's got the same situation where it doesn't have the XLR outs, but everything else is there. I think it's the same power, but obviously fewer snapshots are available to you. But it's so small that you can put it inside your gig bag. Maybe it's a good idea to keep it as a backup for your Helix, even, just in case your Helix decides to die. And all products, all 3 of these products, well, 4 really, have the audio interface capability, so you can connect it to your computer and record music through the USB cable, so it becomes an audio interface. So there you go, guys. Think what works for you, what you need at the moment. For me, I need simply a lot of different snapshots. Some songs, like I said, have 1 sound throughout. Some of them are. See, looking at my, like this one. See, it's just a couple. This one, just a couple. This one. This one has, see, that's the preset that has one sound throughout. So decide what works for you. I highly recommend using your processor as the only piece of equipment. It makes the setup so much easier. It just makes more sense. Once you're done in your sound, you can record it on your computer and it's always the same. Always predictable, no surprises. The sound guy is gonna love you. Your bandmates are gonna love you. Just simply plug in and I'm done. No need to no need to hope that the amp that is ordered for you is going to be functional. You know, how many times has it happened to you where you show up and the amp is dead or it's making weird sounds? So yeah, thanks for watching.